So you want to get placements with major artists. You scour the internet and social media for artist emails to send to. You may pay for email lists or pay for collabs in the hopes that your beats will get sent to a big artist, and you're just itching to get someone big on your music. Well, listen, in today's video, I'm going to share 4 personal tips that have helped me get placements with major artists like Lil Baby, Pooh Shiesty, Lil Durk, Chris Brown, and more. Today, I'm not going to give you information based on hope. I'm not going to tell you things that, sound good, but don't really work in practice. I'm going to give you real practical advice that you can take with you after watching this video and start to implement today in order to get one step closer to that placement that you desire. The first tip I'm going to give you is to stop focusing on placement and to focus on improvement. Now, you may think that's generic advice. Of course, you need to improve. But listen, I get DMs every single day saying, how can I send my beat to Lil Durk? How can I send my beat to Lil Baby? Yo, can you send my beat to Lil Baby for me? Yo, can you send my beat to Lil Durk for me? And I'm like, okay, let me go look at your music. Let me go listen. And I listen, and the beats be trash. They be garbage, not good. The reason why you may not be getting placements right now may simply be because your music is just not good enough to get those placements that you desire. You have to focus on getting better before you want to send your beat to every single big artist that you see. The first 5 years of my music production career, I didn't get no placements. I had no placements. But what I did have was a catalog, a growing catalog of beats that I was stacking that were getting better each month. Just to give you a quick auditory example, here is a beat from 2017 that I made when I didn't really have any placements, I didn't have any connections. I was just making beats for fun and I was trying to get better. Now, in contrast, here's the beat from 2020, which was a year where I really started to develop my sound and get placements with bigger artists. Can you hear the difference? 2020, my mix quality was better. The drums were louder. The bounce was different. The melodies going crazy. Like, you could go down the list as to why that beat from 2020 was better. But that's only because I put in that work from 2017 to 2020 to make sure that my beats were gonna be crazy. You ever seen those videos of rappers reacting to beats for the first time? You want that stink face, you want that. But you can only get there by working on your craft. You may be thinking now, well, how do I know if my beats are up to par? Well, one way is to send your beats in to beat reviews. Some producers, they'll go live and they'll say, hey, send your beats to this email, and they'll give you feedback on your beat live in front of everybody. But it's good because you can actually see, okay, how do my beats stack up? What's some things I could do better? What's some things that I can improve upon? Another way, which I think is the best way to figure out if your beats are up to par, is to start sending them to lower level artists. Start off with artists who are around 1,000 followers, then go to artists who have 2,000 followers, go to artists who have 3,000 followers, artists in your hometown that has around 4,000 followers or 5,000 followers. Send beats to them for free because you're doing this for experience. You're doing this to see, can I actually get placements with these artists? And then once you say, okay, I got some placements with these artists, I got some placements with these artists, I got some placements with these artists, let me try somebody who has 10,000 followers. Maybe there's some resistance there. Maybe you need to figure out, okay, why aren't they rapping on my beats? What can I do better? And then try again. And then, oh, now I'm getting consistent placements with this type of artist. And you keep going until you get to the major artists. Really, that's like, you climbing the stair steps. You have to ask yourself, are you able to get consistent placements with smaller artists? If not, then you're not ready for the major placement yet. When focusing on improvement, you may struggle with consistency and motivation. That's why I created the Wave Creative Producer Guide. In this guide, I give my personal guidance in the areas of motivation, consistency, networking, and building a brand. These are some of the primary non-musical aspects of music production that every producer should develop a foundation in. I include my own templates for how I set goals, how I plan out my days, weeks, and months, and also how I hold myself accountable and stay consistent. This guide will be dropping very soon, so make sure you hit the link in my description in order to join the waitlist. This brings us right to my second tip for producers to get their first major placement. Build with smaller artists. This right here is probably the biggest cheat code that you could ever use to get placements with big artists. Think of your favorite artists and think of the producers that are associated with them. When I think of Future, I think of Metro Boomin, Southside, TM88, Mike Will. When I think of Young Thug, I think of Metro again, London on the Track, Wheezy. Now, one of the things that these producers have in common is that they were all with the artist and that artist early days, the artist's early stages of development. Before all the plaques, before the crazy amount of fans, they were there producing their music. The sounds of these producers became the sounds of those artists. That's why this is such a cheat code, because if you build with a smaller artist, that artist has not only the potential to blow up and bring you with them, but because you're producing that artist's sound, other people will come to you in order to get that sound from you. For example, in 2020, I produced a song called Clappers for an artist named Slime Life Shawty. Now at the time, Slime Life Shawty was arguably the biggest upcoming artist in Atlanta. The song Clappers was going so crazy. It was getting played in the club all the time. It was getting played in the radio in Atlanta. And I don't even think this song went gold or platinum. But just because it was such a street hit in Atlanta, I got so much attention from it. I mean, I had people following me that were big producers in Atlanta. I had other artists following me from Atlanta. I had people hitting my DMs asking me, yo, I need some beats like that. I need some beats like, I need some melodies like that. I had so many people hit me up just based off of the fact that I created this song with this artist that wasn't even big yet, but it got some buzz, it got some traction. So I was able to get other connections from that. And some of those connections are the reason why I have the major placements that I have today. When we focus on building a sound with an artist, you're no longer just trying to chase placements. What you're doing is you're now attracting them to you, because people are going to be hitting you up to work with you to get your sound. This brings us right to our next tip. In order to actually attract these placements, you have to apply the law of detachment. Now, what is the law of detachment? Now, author Deepak Chopra wrote a book called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And in that book, he wrote, the law of detachment says that in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, you have to relinquish your attachment to it. This is similar to the saying, what you chase will run away from you. In order to start getting placements, stop wanting them so bad. This doesn't mean that you give up the intention or the desire to get the placement. This just means that you are unattached from the outcome of whether you actually get that placement or not. For example, it may be your intention to get a placement this year. You may have been producing for 4 or 5 years or 2 years, or maybe this is your first year producing. You just are itching to get a placement this year. You just want one really bad. You may start to think things like, well, if I don't get a placement this year, then I'm not as good as these other people. Or if I don't get a placement this year, then I suck as a producer. Or what are people going to think if I don't get a placement? Because I've been grinding for how many years and I still don't have any placements with any artists. Internalizing thoughts like these is a violation of the law of detachment. My understanding of the spiritual law is that our experienced realities are a manifestation of what we focus our thoughts on. By focusing on the fact that you lack the placement, that lack will continue. On the other hand, if you visualize yourself placement and you see it in your mind's eye and you have faith that, yeah, this thing is true, this image that I'm seeing is real, and I have that placement right now, you're focusing on abundance. And in response, your mind will create a reality where you do have that placement, as long as you're putting in the work. Once you detach yourself from the outcome, you start to ground yourself in uncertainty. You don't know when the placement will come. You don't know how it'll come, but you know that when the opportunity comes, you'll be ready. Let go of what you can't control. You can't control if an artist raps on your beat. You can't control if a producer uses your melody or not. So don't focus on those things. Don't stress over those things. Only focus on what you can control. When I send out melodies or I send out beats, I just send them out and I don't even think about it afterwards. Why? Because I already know what intentions I'm putting out. I'm putting out a frequency of, I'm gonna get these placements. It's gonna happen today or tomorrow. It's gonna happen. I already know it. I see it and I know I can get more. I've done it before. I know I can do it again. In response, my reality responds to that frequency that I'm putting out. I don't focus on, oh, he didn't use my beat this time. Oh, he didn't use it this time. Oh, he didn't use my melody this time. It happens. It's cool. But I'm gonna keep working to get to where I wanna go. Now, the next tip I'm going to give you in order to get major placements is to network horizontally. Networking horizontally means networking with people who are accessible and at or near the same levels of success as you are. One of the benefits of networking horizontally is that you're working with someone who is working towards similar goals as you, and they have the potential to get bigger, and you have the potential to get bigger as well. So as one of you makes a stride in the music industry, as one of you gets a placement, the other one benefits from that, because now you're working with someone who has a placement with maybe this major artist, and you have a chance to get a placement with them too because you're working with. Or maybe you just got a placement with a major artist and they have the chance to get a placement with that artist because you're working with them. So instead of like shooting for bigger producers or shooting for bigger art or bigger people to work with, you're working with someone who is a peer and you're able to help build each other up. Now, I've definitely experienced the benefits of networking horizontally. One of the producers that I work with very closely is named 3L The God, and we had produced a lot of Slime Life Shawty's discography, but we've also produced a song for Lil Baby. When I first hit up 3L, or he first hit me up, I don't even remember who hit up who first. We both weren't that known, you know, we were just starting to get our feet wet as far as placements are concerned. concerned. You know, he had a few with Slime Life Shawty, and then we ended up getting some with Slime Life Shawty together. And eventually, 2 years later, he had a chance to get a song with Lil Baby. You know, he had a chance to send beats to Lil Baby. When that chance came, of course, I was one of the first people he hit up, because he's like, yo, you already got songs with bro, and you got the melodies that I need. What I do, I loaded them up, and now look what happened. We got a song with Lil Baby. Not out yet, but I mean, everybody's heard the snippet and stuff, so y'all know what that is. The point is that because we connected when we were both not that known, not really having no plaques, no placement, we were able to build a relationship to the point where now we're working together on stuff for major artists. My Chris Brown placement, where I produced a song for Chris Brown and Lil Baby called Addicted, came about from me working with an artist named Danny Produced This. I started to work with Danny after hearing his song Okay on The Voice of the Heroes. I also had a song on The Voice of the Heroes called Man of My Word. So because of that, we're basically on the same level placement wise. You know, we got the same type of placements. So now it's like, let's work together. So instead of going for one of the bigger producers that, you know, I had seen produce the stuff for a little bit, I'm like, yo, Danny, let's work, man. And because of that, we were able to get another placement together. Networking horizontally is number one. Another benefit of networking horizontally is you'll have the ability to make genuine friendships. Many times you'll find that you and the person that you're talking to have common interests, or y'all like to watch the same type of videos, watch the same type of content, or you like to engage in the same type of extracurricular activities. Don't let it just be about music. A lot of the producers that I work with, that I really work closely with, we might talk about music like 30% of the time, but the other 70% of the time, we talking about other stuff. We talking about sports, we talking about girls, we talking about, you know, we just talking about whatever. And I think that that's such an underrated part of the whole networking thing. Like, when people say you got to network, you got to provide value, but one of the ways that you can really provide value is by being a friend. When either of us has opportunities to send beats to a certain artist or send melodies to a certain producer, we say, yo, send me some starters. Yo, send me some beats. I got a chance to get a beat to this artist. I got a chance to get a melody to this producer. So we open up channels for each other. We genuinely want to see each other succeed, and that is so powerful. So look for these types of relationships, and if you find them, if you really make that genuine connection, stay connected, nurture that relationship, because that relationship right there may be how you get your first major placement, or maybe you'll be the one that provides that person with their first major placement. Now, this wraps up our video for today. I know that if you implement these tips, you will get closer to that major placement that you desire. Keep working. Peace.